The hidden chains of manipulation. In the shadows of human relationships, there exists a subtle dance of power and influence. It's a dance that can bind even the most resolute of men, trapping them in a web of emotional manipulation. Yet, we must not mistake this as mere play. The ancient Stoics, wise in their understanding of human nature, taught us to recognize the chains that bind our soul and to break free with reason, fortitude, and an unwavering commitment to virtue. We embark on a journey to unravel the 7 most potent ways in which women, knowingly or unknowingly, may seek to manipulate and control men. This is not an indictment, but an exploration of the very dynamics that Stoic philosophers like Epictetus and Seneca would urge us to confront with a firm and disciplined mind. For in recognizing these tactics, we gain the power to rise above them, to reclaim our freedom, and to cultivate the self-control that defines true strength. 1. Emotional guilt, the silent weapon. Guilt, when wielded skillfully, is a weapon that can bring even the strongest man to his knees. It is not the loud accusations, but the silent insinuations that often do the most damage. A look of disappointment, a sigh of dissatisfaction. These small gestures can plant seeds of doubt within us, leading us to question our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our worth. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When we allow guilt to cloud our minds, we paint our soul with hues of weakness and submission. We must remember that no one has the power to make us feel guilty unless we grant them that power. To overcome this, we must cultivate a sense of inner conviction, rooted in the knowledge that our actions are guided by reason and virtue. The Stoic approach to guilt is not to ignore it, but to confront it head-on. We ask ourselves, have I acted according to my principles? Have I harmed anyone unjustly? If the answer is no, then we must let go of the guilt that others try to impose upon us. If the answer is yes, we must correct our course and move forward without allowing guilt to anchor us in the past. 2. The illusion of scarcity, fostering dependence. Scarcity is a powerful psychological tool. When we believe that something is rare or difficult to obtain, we assign it greater value. Some women may create an illusion of scarcity, whether it be their time, affection, or approval, to foster dependence in men. By making themselves seem elusive or hard to reach, they cultivate a sense of urgency and fear of loss. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." The illusion of scarcity feeds into this wastefulness by making us chase after what we believe to be rare, often at the expense of our own values and well-being. But the true Stoic understands that nothing external can truly be scarce if we do not assign it undue importance. The remedy is found in self-sufficiency. We must remind ourselves that our worth is not tied to another person's approval or affection. The Stoic is content with what they have and does not feel diminished by what they lack. In realizing that we do not need what others make scarce, we break free from their control and reclaim our independence. 3. Emotional outbursts, the power of chaos. In moments of chaos, when emotions run high, it is easy to lose our bearings. Some women may use emotional outbursts, tears, anger, frustration, as a means to disrupt a man's calm and reasoned state. This tactic seeks to overwhelm the rational mind, creating confusion and making it difficult to respond with clarity and wisdom. Epictetus teaches us, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The Stoic response to emotional outbursts is one of steadfast calm. We must learn to observe these outbursts without becoming entangled in them, understanding that they are external to us and therefore outside our control. Our focus should remain on maintaining our inner peace and responding, if necessary, with a composed and measured mind. To master this, we practice apatheia, the state of being free from destructive emotions. This does not mean we become indifferent or unfeeling, but rather that we develop an inner resilience that allows us to remain unmoved by the storms of others' emotions. In doing so, we disarm the power that emotional chaos has over us. 4. The promise of future rewards. Manipulating hope. Hope can be a double-edged sword. While it can inspire us to persevere, it can also be used as a tool of manipulation. By dangling the promise of future rewards, whether it be love, commitment, or some other form of approval, some women may keep men in a state of perpetual anticipation, leading them to act against their own interests in pursuit of something that may never come. As Marcus Aurelius writes, do not disturb yourself by picturing your life as a whole. Do not assemble the troubles which have not yet come to pass, but as each arises, meet it with the same spirit as now you do. The Stoic does not live in the future, nor do they allow their actions to be dictated by the hope of what might be. Instead, they focus on the present moment, making decisions based on what is right and just, not on what might be promised. Hope, when used as a manipulative tool, is a chain that binds us to uncertainty. We must learn to act according to our principles and values, regardless of what rewards may be offered or withheld in the future. In this way, we free ourselves from the control of others and remain true to our own path. 5. The withholding of affection. Control through deprivation. Affection is a basic human need, and its deprivation can be a powerful means of control. Some women may withhold affection, whether physical, emotional, or verbal, as a way to manipulate men into complying with their wishes. This tactic preys on the natural human desire for connection and approval, creating a dynamic where a man feels compelled to act in ways that will earn back the affection he craves. Seneca reminds us, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. The Stoic understands that true contentment does not come from the affection of others, but from a deep-seated sense of self-worth and inner peace. While affection from others is a blessing, it is not something we should be dependent upon for our happiness or sense of self. When faced with the withholding of affection, the Stoic response is one of self-reliance. We must cultivate an inner source of contentment that is not dependent on external validation. By doing so, we free ourselves from the emotional manipulation that comes from the deprivation of affection and maintain our integrity and self-respect. 6. The art of flattery. Feeding the ego. Flattery is a subtle yet potent form of manipulation. By appealing to a man's ego, some women may seek to control him through praise and compliments, making him more susceptible to their influence. Flattery, when unchecked, can lead to arrogance and a distorted sense of self, causing a man to act in ways that align more with the desires of the flatterer than with his own values. Epictetus cautions us, if anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said of you, but answer, he was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone. The Stoic does not seek praise, nor do they fear criticism. They are indifferent to the opinions of others, understanding that true worth is determined by one's own actions and adherence to virtue, not by the flattering words of others. To resist the manipulation of flattery, we must practice humility. We remind ourselves that praise is fleeting and often insincere. Our focus should remain on living a virtuous life, not on seeking the approval of others. In doing so, we maintain our autonomy and prevent others from using flattery as a means to control us. 7. The threat of abandonment. Manipulating fear. Fear of abandonment is a primal fear that can lead us to act against our own interests in an attempt to preserve a relationship. Some women may use the threat of abandonment, whether explicit or implicit, to manipulate men into compliance. This tactic preys on the fear of loss, making a man feel that he must do whatever it takes to keep the relationship intact, even if it means compromising his own values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. The Stoic does not fear loss, for they understand that all external things, relationships, possessions, even life itself, are impermanent. What matters is not the duration of these things, but how we conduct ourselves in their presence. When faced with the threat of abandonment, the Stoic response is one of courage and detachment. We must recognize that no relationship is worth sacrificing our principles, and that true strength comes from within, not from the validation of others. By embracing this mindset, we overcome the fear of loss and live in accordance with our true nature. The path to freedom and virtue. As we navigate the complexities of human relationships, it is crucial that we remain vigilant against the subtle forms of manipulation that can erode our sense of self and lead us away from the path of virtue. The Stoic philosophy, with its emphasis on self-control, fortitude, and the cultivation of inner peace, offers us the tools we need to recognize and overcome these manipulative tactics. In understanding the 7 ways in which women may seek to manipulate and control men, we do not become cynical or distrustful, but rather more aware and resilient. We learn to value our freedom, our autonomy, and our commitment to living a virtuous life above all else. By embracing the teachings of the Stoics, we empower ourselves to rise above the chains of manipulation and to live as true masters of our own fate. Let us remember the words of Seneca: "He who is brave is free." The path to true freedom lies not in avoiding manipulation, but in confronting it with a clear mind, a steadfast heart, and an unwavering dedication to the principles of Stoicism. In doing so, we not only protect ourselves from the control of others, but also cultivate the inner strength and resilience that define a life well lived.